If you live northwest of Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and need to get to Chicago, the Metra station in Harvard, Illinois is your regional park and ride station to fit the Union Pacific Northwest line into your travel plans. There it is. You know, it's very convenient. This is the Metra station for the entire western United States. Now we go pay for parking towards Chicagoland. Right now we're on the very edge of it. $2 per day via the Passport parking app lets you park your vehicle in this, the furthest town from Chicago's city center, connected to downtown via this commuter rail line. In the coming years, Metra plans to institute service to Rockford. Until then, the modestly sized station house, with its closed interior and bus shelter waiting area, are where I began my recent trip out to the East Coast, when my Amtrak connection at Tomah, Wisconsin, closer to my long-term layover point of Lafayette, was too delayed to keep our same-day eastbound connections. So we drove from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, here to Harvard, Illinois, and we're going to pick up Metra's UP Northwest line all the way into Ogilvie. I'm finally utilizing the luggage alcove in these bi-level gallery cars, this one of a newer vintage with clear windows and nicer seats. But the need to power my devices resettled my teenager and I on the lower level seating area where the outlets are located. There are restrooms on board for the about 2-hour travel time, though Metra's keeping their facilities sparse even after 2020. Well, not great. Yep, still bad. The drive here was arguably convenient, but I'm hopeful Wisconsin's planned Hiawatha service expansion to Madison and Eau Claire will someday make our drive out to Harvard a second-tier option. From the sources I've read online, the Northwest Line has hosted commuter service throughout its existence. Originally built by the Chicago and Northwestern, it was operated by that historic railroad up until the CNW's 1995 merger with Union Pacific. The Northwest Line, as it's known, came under the Metra banner in the late 20th century, but was crewed by the Freight Railroad up until 2025 when Metra took over, though UP still owns the right-of-way and dispatches the trains. Though Harvard is the end of the line today, historically the line extended to Madison and other Wisconsin cities beyond up until the 1960s when highways were built leading from cities in southern Wisconsin towards Chicagoland that began to take ridership away from CNW commuter and intercity trains. This line has the second highest ridership in the Metra system, but since its peak in 2014 has seen declines in ridership due to folks working from home. Post-2020 ridership has only recovered to about half of what it was in prior decades. That all makes it sound as if the railroad's in decline, but the reality on board is that it remains a viable option for folks who need to go to Chicago from the northwestern suburbs but don't want to deal with traffic or toll and parking costs in the city. Today's trip would become an increasingly occupied load of passengers, mostly making the long trip to Ogilvie Transportation Center from various suburbs. Summer in Chicagoland finds a number of ongoing attractions and special events drawing folks into the city. The various towns and cities along the line appear to have varying levels of commercial culture surrounding their Metra stations. Some take on the character of modern park and rides. Others have station houses of various vintages, but most feature long platforms to accommodate the potential throngs of commuters that may need to go between these various cities into Chicago or beyond. It's a good example of how continuous passenger rail service helps communities maintain social and commercial relevance. It's a line built to have the capacity to serve cities beyond those directly on the line and to keep them connected with Chicago's hub of commerce in the Midwest. statisticians and politicians alike might be able to scrutinize ridership decade by decade and stir up sentiments on both sides. Opposers could say the railroad deserves less funding and frequency due to folks becoming more tied to their hometowns, and that their cars have the staying power to handle their commutes. But Chicago's well into a capacity crunch for the infrastructure developed over decades of sprawl. There are industries along this line and agriculture commodities to the west that have seen Union Pacific invest in updating signaling and right-of-way infrastructure. The line becomes double, then triple, and eventually quad-tracked to host people and goods into Chicago. The line's distant reach and variety of thriving cities makes it more of a regional rail line than a commuter rail operation. The hour of driving into the city it shaved off our commute from northern Wisconsin to Chicago today, when our eastbound Empire Builder train became delayed, preserved our capability to connect to Amtrak's Floridian train rather than having to await the more timely Borealis train and spend extra on a night's accommodation to make the connection the next day in Chicago. driving through Chicago is only appealing on paper to the uninitiated. Since I began taking trips as a 19-year-old in 2003, I saw what the train had the capacity to do from the windows of my various vehicles stuck in traffic circumnavigating Chicago's freeways and tollways, both congested. The gleaming old EMD locomotives hauling commuters across express and tollways stopped up with traffic for hours showed me toward how I would eventually come to utilize this and conceptually other Metra lines around Chicagoland in the years to come. It's not a secret either. Acquaintances from Janesville, Madison, and a lot of folks I've met in my new layover point of Eau Claire already know about Harvard, Illinois, and the station with ample parking to let them glide through Chicago rather than risk a fender bender on the Jane Addams or have to pay tolls in their travel to and through the cultural center of the Midwest. In short, this line has plenty of staying power, though it may sometimes be used as a political pawn by those looking to amplify the fiscal tightening of suburban budgets through service reductions such as those that create gaps of several hours between services out to and from Harvard. The Northwest Line has been built to last and maintain the significance of the suburbs that buy into and keep this service. After dispersing the gaggle at Ogilvie, we prepared to take the Floridian with Amtrak. Days later, we'd be back on board an outbound UP Northwest Line train headed back to Harvard after visiting Atlantic City, Philly, and briefly New York City. The return trip on Metra let us get some glimpses of the more active sides of certain station stops. A lot of what you can get in inner-city Chicago is present in these suburbs, but beyond the commercial corridors that are well-traveled, there are museums, parks, trails, and variations on the Chicagoland character that are worth checking out beyond the city core. A Metra day pass can make for some interesting stopping points along the way on your next trip. In a future video, I'll be back aboard the CTA's Pink Line for a ride on the Cermak branch of the L. I've got a day of meandering around Philly via SEPTA's quirky trolley lines to also show off. Like and subscribe for those, and check out my other Metra line videos in the meantime. Thanks for coming with me on the Northwest line today. I'll see you on the next one.